Woohoo, hello. Wow, I didn't think I would talk about something like this on my channel. We're getting very close and personal. That's definitely one topic that I thought I would not kind of even open on my channel. But here we are. Hopefully, I don't know, a lot of people can relate to it. Or maybe not a lot of people, I don't know. One for the history books, you know, when they're gonna be studying generations like millennials, zillenials, Gen Z, whatever, you know, doing social researches. I don't know. Here's a video to contribute to that. So today I thought we would talk about sex. Here I am talking about it. Well, because, you know, I'm a human being. I feel like it's such a natural thing to talk about at the end of the day. Hi mom, hi granny, hi dad if you're watching. Yes, I feel like, you know, at 27, I think it's quite appropriate for me to talk about it, so we are talking about it today. And specifically, what I wanted to talk about today is how my perspective on sex changed. The way I thought about sex in my late teenage years, early 20s, and now in my late 20s. I mean, I feel like I'm experiencing a lot of change in different aspects in my life, but this specific one too. So I thought I would share it with you, and hopefully, I don't know, you'll find some reflection in it. And you could share it down below. Share your opinion. What prompted this video, or what kind of gave me inspiration, is this post that I saw on British Vogue. They posted it on Instagram. I think there's an article on their website, but I didn't really come to actually reading the article. I saw the post and it got me thinking, and I guess that was enough. I'm not going to discuss the article in detail, but I'll leave the link to it if you want to read it. But the post says how a year without sex has changed my life for the better. And apparently one of the writers at Vogue has been celibate for a year and is talking about her experience and changes that it brought to her life. I started thinking about it from the same perspective. At first, not having sex for a really long time, to how I see it, how I view it, sort of the function of it, the role it plays in my life. So growing up, right, I was born in 1998 in sort of the third/fourth wave of feminism. Women liberation, women finding their freedom, whatever, in sexual expressions. Obviously, like, it hasn't started there, but it started in the 70s, of course, as we all know. In the social environments that I was in, my late teens, early 20s, I was growing up watching shows like Sex and the City, which is, I mean, to this day, it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and I adore it. And sort of having this idea of sex not being anything special, from the influencers that I would follow, to my friends, to, I don't know, people that I studied with at school. I went to art school and everybody's extremely liberal there, mostly. So I've always had this idea that, like, sex is not really, you know, it's like, it's a cool thing to do. It should be a very casual thing. Like, it has no weight. It's, you know, it's just there to give you pleasure, fun, etc. And especially growing up as a girl who was obsessed with Sex and the City, I always kind of praised this idea of having many partners, and like adoring women who were very like sexually active, and like they were not ashamed to admit it. And, you know, they were fighting with dudes calling them whores and whatever. They were like, yeah, I don't care, I wear it as a badge, whatever. And I was like, yes, girl, that's, you know, that's the way to do it. Yes, I want to be like you. In the beginning, I guess, like, as all girls, for you, before you sort of become sexually active, when you're still a virgin, there might be a little bit of that fear, like, oh, you know, the first time, it's not always pleasant. It really depends on the person. And at first it was like that in my late teens, because I think I don't remember at this point. I think I lost my virginity around like 18, 19, which I think is quite like an fair age to become sexually active. You know, you're a young adult, you start having sex. I feel like I was kind of following a regular timeline that most people go through. In my late teens, of course, it was a nerve-wracking thing. You know, whenever I would think about it, there would be an element of fear, like, oh, you know, who is it gonna happen with? How is it gonna go? Is it gonna be painful? Is it gonna be exciting? You know, all these thoughts are going through your head. Even at that age, when you want your first time to be special, I sort of knew, growing up in that social environment of like liberated women, you know, everybody's being so progressive sexually. I was like, yeah, it's nothing special. I just want to get over it. Even though I was scared, I was like, it's probably not as big of a deal as everybody's describing it. And it really wasn't. Like, my first time, I remember when it happened, I thought to myself, like, is that it? Is that what people are overhyping? Like, is that it? It felt so natural. It felt like, okay, it's gonna sound extremely weird, but I thought to myself, like, it felt like going to the bathroom. You know, like, going to pee it's such a natural process. You just go and do it. Like there's nothing, whatever. It's whatever. Sex felt the same way. I was like, okay, is that it? I didn't do it with a random partner. I did it with my boyfriend back at the time. It still felt like, it wasn't like hyper special or anything. I just, I treated it as a normal thing. But I was still having sex within my relationships. I wasn't really like going out, having one night stands, etc. But at some point in my early 20s, I think it was like when I turned 21 or 22, around that age, I got out of one of my relationships, like serious relationships, and I was really heartbroken. And it really hurt. And I feel like that was like the beginning of my fuckboy period when I was like, okay, I'm gonna be Samantha Jones from now on. I don't give a fuck. I'm just gonna do it because I want to. The more the merrier. The more random it is, the merrier. I went on like this sexual crusade. Like every new city that I'm gonna travel to, I'm gonna fuck someone there. And I was like really proud of it. Like I was like, hell yes, I'm like self-liberating. I'm doing this and that. Yeah, I think I was like that for like a couple of years. And it was fun. Back at the time, I was discovering myself through it. I was having fun, like discovering new sexual things that you can do with different people, all of that. And then I guess it stopped when I got into a new relationship. Of course, like I'm not an open relationship kind of person. I'm very, very monogamous. If I'm in a relationship with one person, I'm not sleeping with anybody else. I'm not going anywhere. I'm like sticking with that person. And I'm very loyal to that person. Like the idea of sleeping with somebody else, it doesn't even cross my mind. Like if I'm really focused on somebody, like if I decide to be in a relationship with someone, I don't even think about doing it with anybody else because I'm very committed. If it's a serious relationship, I can still find other people attractive, other men attractive, but like I'm 100% focused on my partner. So, my sort of fuckboy period ended when I entered a relationship. That's where things started changing for me a lot because it was sort of after I turned 25. But even right before, I feel like at the end of my fuckboy era, by that time I had enough fun. I had enough one night stands and like these sort of random experiences. And at some point, what I've noticed, I don't know if it depends on how long you do it or if it coincided with me sort of growing up or like getting older, but at some point it just became exhausting. Like I would wake up in the morning with the person that I would sleep with, especially if sex wasn't that good and you don't really know the person, you're like, was it worth it? Like I could have just gone home and like slept well, but now I'm, sleep deprived a little bit, hungover, because most of those experiences would happen when I would not be sober. At some point I started questioning if it's worth my energy. At some point it stopped being fun, started having a status for me of just waste, like energy waste. You don't really need it. Like it doesn't really bring anything into your life. Yeah, in the moment, maybe it feels great. Maybe, that's a big maybe too. Maybe it feels great, but it's never promised. You're just gambling, basically, for a moment of pleasure. But the amount of energy that you put into it, that might not even pay off. Like, what's the point? I don't know. Also, as you're getting older, you're not really, you're not getting younger. You have less energy. And even though, again, like I'm at my prime era, I feel like, my late 20s, I'm really looking forward to my early 30s too. Like, I feel like it's the high time of your life. But still, like, you're not as crazy as you were in your early 20s. And you don't have that much energy anymore. Like, your body feels different. Your energy levels feel different. So it changes. And so the perspective that I had sort of shifted. And that's how my fuckboy era finished. I got into my next relationship. It feels so weird saying it because it was my previous relationship, like my last one. It's still I'm still like partially getting over it, but that's where a lot of things changed, because not only did I realize that like, okay, one night stands are not worth it anymore for me, and this person appeared in my life and we started dating and it started being serious. An extra layer that was added to it in a way was the fact that it was a long distance relationship. And so sex started like to have a completely different place in my life, and it started being so much more special in a way because I didn't have the person next to me that I was with. I didn't have my partner at all times. Actually, most of our relationship, we were physically apart from each other. So, you know, it became something really that I really cherished. You know, it became incredibly special. And it's kind of funny because at the height of my fuckboy era, for me, it was just such a casual thing. And it shifted within maybe like around a year or so to a completely different extreme where it was such a like special, unique, like rare moment that I really cherished. My whole idea of what sex is changed. And I also started thinking about it within the context of relationship and like comparing my past experiences to being sexually active in a long distance relationship, which was like two polar opposites almost. What I found as well is that, I don't know, maybe it's so obvious for some people, but like when you're in like so in love with the person, when you truly love and commit to this one person, the whole experience of having sex with that person becomes just something heavenly. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. Having sex with the person you're really like in love with and having that emotional connection there, it just makes it so much better that all my one night stands, they were just like, they just seemed so bland and so plain compared to the kind of sex I could have in a relationship. Energy wise as well, it's sort of reciprocated. It's you're giving energy to this person, this person gives you his energy back, and it just becomes this crazy out of this world energy exchange. And you feel so fulfilled and so full of like warmth and love and all these amazing, incredible emotions afterwards, that it's honestly, it's incomparable to casual stuff. Again, like long distance made it even more special. It made it even sort of more elevated for me, and gave me a completely different idea of what sex can be. I feel like I definitely have much higher standards for what I want from it at this point in my life, now that I'm 27. And now I'm single again. But like, I don't want to go on like sexual benders. That sounds terrible. Before I would get out of the relationship, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go fuck everything that moves. I don't give a fuck, you know? Now, I'm like, I might as well be celibate for the rest of my life. If I don't meet the right person, there is no way in hell I'm spending my energy, my time, my emotions on it. If it's random, no fucking way. There's no way. Like, the idea of one night stand to me is doesn't even cross my mind anymore. Because it's just like, tell me, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's me becoming an adult. Finally, I don't know. But it just seems like a waste. I can do so many more productive things instead of going and sleeping with somebody casually. Like, why? I could wake up in the morning full of energy, do the things that I love, dedicated to my work, my hobbies, to YouTube, you know, do things that would make me feel good 100%, that I'm very sure of. Spend quality time with my friends or my family, put energy into that rather than, oh, I'm just gonna go find a dick and sit on it and like feel good for 1 second, feel good for 1 second. In the context of energy exchange and like a place to put your energy in, then you start thinking harder about it. And then you start making more informed decisions of who you want to sleep with and who you want to give this energy to. I come to realize that outside of context of a relationship, I don't even think about sex. Like, it doesn't even cross my mind. I have so many more things that I can take care of, or like that I can dedicate my time to again, that if I don't have the person that I'm deeply in love with or committed to, what's the point? What's the point of having sex? Yeah, like I've had some good one-night stands, but are they worth it at the end of the day? Yeah, I'm actually curious how I'm gonna feel, let's say in 5-10 years time, if I'm gonna feel the same way. Maybe it's like a combination of things where I feel this way because I just got out of the relationship and I don't really want to, you know, do anything with anybody, like, and just take time for myself and really like focus on myself. Maybe it's gonna change. I don't know. It's actually kind of cool having this video as a little proof, as a little piece of evidence, and compare it later on in my life. That's my thoughts on sex. All these years that I've been trying to do YouTube on and off, like, I feel like talking about sex has also never crossed my mind But it recently has, so I thought, you know, since it's here, I need to let it out. So yeah, let me know what you think. How did your perspective on sex change throughout your life? If you're in your early 20s, how do you feel about it? If you're in your late 20s, early 30s, early 40s, how has it changed for you? If you're in a relationship, if you're single, what are the factors that contribute to you thinking about sex, or like your perspective on sex? We're all adults here, so let's share. Let's share these opinions, you know, because I feel like maybe it's worth talking about it because it's such a natural part of our life. Let me know. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can't be. Let's talk about sex. That song has been playing on my mind for the duration of this whole video. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stop wasting your time. Thank you for listening to my yaps. It's about to say dirty, inappropriate yaps, but there's nothing inappropriate about sex, honestly. I mean, we're all adults here. All right, I hope you have a great day. And if you're already having a great day, good for you. Keep on going. I'll see you in one of my next videos. Bye.